Is a dictionary still a dictionary if it embraces postmodernism? Well, Webster's did just that when it changed sex-based definitions. So welcome back to the channel today, everyone. So I am back after a few weeks away. So first I was out visiting family for the 4th of July, and then last week I had the great honor of speaking over at Freedom Fest. That was an amazing experience. I met some amazing people, and you can see a lot of those pictures over on my Instagram. But today I want to talk about how Webster's Dictionary bows to the woke activists and embraces queer theory definitions. But before I get into that, today's sponsor are the Tuttle Twins books. In a world where teachers seem to prioritize teaching wokeness to your kids, you have to take your child's education into your own hands. The Tuttle Twins have books that teach them history, sound money, personal freedoms, and more. Use the link in the description and get your books today. So I had the honor of meeting Connor Boyuk, who is the creator of Tuttle Twins at Freedom Fest. Told him how much I love the books and how instrumental these books are at combating the corruption of the youth that we're seeing in the schools today. So definitely go check out that link in the description below. So now on to Webster's. I saw on Twitter the other day, and it became known to much of the internet the other day, that Webster's has changed the definition of female. They added this last part. It says, having gender identity that is opposite of male. Which this is obviously ridiculous, right? I mean, if you wanted to add that definition to woman, I disagree, but it would at least go along the lines where sex and gender are different. However, female is biology, and it's immutable. But this goes right back to queer theory, and remember how I described that postmodernists don't believe in absolute truths, and that some actually believe that sex is a social construct, the same way as CRT says race is a social construct? So that's essentially what this is saying right now. And really, since when can a definition of a word include that word? This ends up creating the circular definition. Ask what a female is, and the person says anybody that identifies as such, but then what are they identifying as?
You stood up here and said trans women are women.
Yes.
Tell me what you mean. What is a woman?
Woman, people who identify as a woman.
Identify as what?
As a woman.
What is that?
Was to each their own.
And it goes in circles. And I'll also note they did change the definition of male to say the same thing. Anybody who identifies as a male. What I find interesting is they didn't change the definition of man or woman. I don't know why. Because sex has a specific definition. There is an absolute truth to biology. A female has XX chromosomes. A male has XY chromosomes. So to change that to somebody who identifies as such is literally erasing biology. I don't get it. Unless you are purposely trying to drive a wedge in this divide and create this postmodernist system that queer theory would actually have you believe. However, they did change the definition of boy and girl. To a boy, they say a child whose gender identity is male. A girl is also a person whose gender identity is female. And I noticed they use the word gender identity, and this is problematic because this would include adults, as it doesn't say a child whose gender identity is male or female. So this validates adults trying to identify as children too, which I see very problematic. I shouldn't have to mention why that's problematic. Not to mention this validates that kids can be trans, which they really can't. I mean, we need to understand that kids will explore being GNC, and that is okay. But don't push them into this sunken cost fallacy that they're trans when it's highly likely that they will desist in puberty. 80% will in fact desist by the age of 16. All you are doing is making it harder to ensure that they are making the right decision by placing this label on them. And so the last point I want to make about this goes back to the video I made last fall called Stop Calling Trans Women Female. Go check that video out because I think we could use male and female as a compromise in a language set. See, trans activists and gender critical activists should be able to agree that only females can get pregnant, for example, or using female sports instead of women's sports. There's no need for demeaning words like uterus havers or bleeders because female accurately describes those, unless you think sex is a social construct, which is now what Webster's is defining it as. So that makes it harder for me to make this point and for us to have a compromise. I use female more than male as an example most of the time because the conversation is about erasing women in a way that doesn't erase me. I mean, look at this headline. Ohio bill would allow pregnant people to sue men for unintended pregnancies. See, it still uses pregnant people for females, but then it actually uses men. So to say that anybody can get pregnant, but only men can get you pregnant. And what I can't determine is this due to the fact that the patriarchy won't be replaced, or the fact that feminists want to blame men for everything? I don't know. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Click that like and subscribe button. Go support our sponsors. Follow me across all social media platforms, and I will see you next time.